Hello, everybody, and welcome, and I hope you're having a great day. I want to talk about food shortages, but of a different kind. A lot of people are talking about the recent floods and how we're going to have problems with vegetables, and a lot of it has to do with that people have been to the stores and they've seen signs that the product isn't there due to a food shortage. And so they're more panicked about that because they're seeing the signs, but they give very little thought to the meat industry and what's happening to it. Now, I know a little bit about it because I raise chickens and I have goats and I do sell my eggs, but some people don't want to buy them from me because they think they're just too expensive. I charge like $2 for a dozen of eggs, and they think that's a lot of money, but every so often they'll show up at my house wanting eggs because they can't find any in the grocery stores. And so I began to do some research years and years ago on the situation and what was going on. And that's when I found out about the chicken flu, the chickens get, and that they were dying. And it was going from one place to another, to different states. And that shocked me. I didn't realize that we had lost just alone in 3.4 million chickens. Well, that's a lot of chickens. After Hurricane Florence, and we lost 5,500 hogs. Now, from December 2014 to June 2015, 50 million chickens have died. That's an astronomical amount. Now, something a lot of people out there, stop and think about 50 million chickens have died. And something that a lot of people don't know, the chicken industry had a severe blow to it because they're raising a certain type of chicken. It's like a cross rock. It's white. It gets huge. It is born to eat and die. It consumes an enormous amount of feed. It gets so big, its bone structure and heart can't deal with it. And if it wasn't butchered for consumption, it would die. It's not made to live. It's just made to be an eating machine and put meat on its bone in a very quick manner. So the problem with that industry, though, is that the males were turning out sterile. And they didn't know it in the beginning until they started having an extremely low hatchery rate. And they began to do tests and study to see what was going wrong. And they found out that many of the males were turning out, over time, they were becoming sterile. They could no longer produce. They were just, or reproduce. They were becoming sterile. And so they had to quick try to find some sort of replacement. I don't know if some of you have noticed, but I definitely have. Certain brand chicken quarter legs are much tougher than other brands are. And it has to do with they had to find a replacement for that chicken because the chicken industry didn't have enough chicken for the public. And so they were scrounging trying to find a replacement. And that's why some of the prices have gone so sky high. The chicken they found to kind of balance and replace it is not the eating machine that the other chicken is. And so that caused a problem. Now, I knew that there was a severe problem when a man that owned a chicken factory said if you own any chickens, you better hold on to them because chicken would become as expensive as ribeye steak per pound. And I figured he knew what he was talking about. So I've held on to my chickens. Now, another problem we have is pigs. I'm sure you've heard of the flu, the swine fever, they call it. Well, China has owns or is 50% of the producer of hogs. 50% in the world. Well, they lost 130 million pigs. 130 million. That's an enormous amount of pigs. And it has to do with this fever, with the swine. And we're very concerned of it spreading maybe to some other places. China, they say it will take them a long time to come under the conditions to try to get it under control, and it's going to take them a long time to be able to do that. And if that gets out to anywhere else, like here, we're in some serious trouble. You can already expect pork to go sky high. It's high enough as it is, but it's going to definitely go even higher. And so is chicken. Turkey, as you know, over the years, buying a turkey for Thanksgiving, you've already seen turkey go up, I mean, a lot at Thanksgiving. And it has to do with the bird flu that has devastated our poultry industry. And it seems to rear its ugly head every so often again. When about the time they think they've got it solved, about the time they think everything's okay, and they're like, okay, we're in the clear, everything's fine, we got it under control. All of a sudden, a couple of years later, it'll pop back up again somewhere else. Some places that they said it was never a problem in was in people who raise chickens at home. And then they started up, now they're seeing it there. And that was not something they saw before. It was actually popping up in homesteaders, chicken coops. And before it was just industrial. So, it seems like it just rears its ugly head over and over. We can't lose 50 million chickens. We can't lose 130 million pigs or 5,000 pigs in the flood. And we've had other floods where we've lost a lot more than that too. I didn't go through year after year and research after research on all of it over the years of how much we lost. But just think, from December 2014 to June 2015, we lost 50 million chickens. 50 million. 3.4 million chickens and 5,500 hogs after Hurricane Florence due to the floods. That's a lot of meat. And it's going to get worse. We're going to lose even more. With everything we see that's happening with our weather patterns and the diseases that are hitting our animals, that's wiping them out. It happened in Mexico. They got that flu in their chickens, the chicken flu. They had to slaughter all their chickens and start over again. And it hurt their industry. It hurt in the United States because Mexico has a thing where they won't allow eggs from the United States or another country to cross over into their border. Well, they lifted that ban so that they could come into the United States when, people that lived on border towns, and they were saying border towns were having a hard time keeping eggs on the shelf for the people that lived in the town because they were coming across and taking so many dozens to take back home to their families to feed their families because they couldn't get eggs anywhere. So it definitely affects. We've already seen the prices go high in meat. Some cuts are already out of many people's reach. But it's going to get to the point where chicken is out of your reach. It's going to get to the point that chicken is going to cost you so much and pork so much, you're not going to be able to even afford it. Look at our oceans and what's happening with our fish and everything they say that's being contaminated now. It's not going to get better, it's only going to get worse. So, I don't know if it's possible, if you have some property and you can grow your own meat, you might want to consider doing that. You really do, because it's not going to get better, and neither is the meat situation going to get better. And it's to the point now, if you have a little bit of land, you can raise your animals cheaper than you're going to be able to get the meat at the store. A lot cheaper, if you can even get the meat. There's shortages. Cattle have died, frozen in Australia, all kinds of different places. A lot of farmers got out of the business when the corn went up. They said they couldn't even break even anymore, and we lost a lot of farmers even back then. I know at times that I couldn't get chicken scratch because there was no Milo. And so Milo is part of chicken scratch, and you couldn't find any chicken scratch at all because there was no Milo. And I've watched over the years, it's been a lot of years, I've watched our meat become worse and worse, and more illnesses in it, and more problems with our meat. And it's only going to go higher. It's not going to go lower. So I just wanted to give you that information because everybody's talking about vegetables, but nothing about meat. And as I always say, and I truly mean it, I hope you have a blessed day. I know I said bye, and I know I said I hope you have a blessed day, but I do want to mention one other thing. And it's not just me. I know I'm older, and people say, oh, when people get older, they lose their taste. But our meat today does not taste the same as it used to. I've known people that are in their 30s and 40s that can remember meat back when they were a kid 15, 20 years ago, and they have said that over the years, their meat seems to have less and less flavor to it, to the point that unless you throw a whole lot of spices in it or some other things with it, it just has no flavor at all, that it's tasteless. And I will have to agree with them on that one. But, when I mention that to other people, especially very young people, well, that's because you're old. Older people lose their taste. Well, no, they don't. I don't believe that. I haven't lost my taste. I know what things tasted like when I was a kid, and my dad would raise a cow, strictly grass-raised, slow and easy, was wonderfully delicious. And back then, people without teeth could actually chew it. Today, you have a hard time chewing it even with teeth. There's just something about it, it's not the same. So, now we'll say that that's the end and goodbye, and may you have a blessed day.